Hi everybody, good morning. So today, oh my gosh, what is it? Tuesday. Wow, the time is going so fast. Today we're gonna do a Brussels sprouts with pecans and cranberries and some carrots, and we're going to get dinner ready so that it can be like just started and then set aside and then warmed up this afternoon so I can go in the garden for the day, because today is one of the sunniest days. And I'm going to cut these in half. And so, yeah, so we haven't seen the sun in a little while. And so it's super exciting. So it's supposed to be nice, I think, for the next few days. I can't quite remember. Exactly. So yeah, just doing these Brussels sprouts. Really happy. I always love Brussels sprouts. And what we're going to do is the Brussels sprouts and the carrots, and then we have a sweet potato that I'm going to do something with, and then we will discuss some. Hi, good morning everybody. So happy to see you guys on here. So yeah, so I figured I'm going to make my dinner early and just get it going, and then it'll be like, you know, just sort of get the sauce on it and a little bit warmed up, and then I can finish like just quickly reheat it kind of thing. And so like you guys know, I usually like my vegetables fairly raw, so these are just going to be like a light steam with the Brussels sprouts. So I washed, of course, always wash your vegetables before you put them in the fridge. That is with all of my YouTube videos, that's the secret. Good morning everybody, so fun. That's a secret to 15-minute cooking, is to wash your vegetables and before you put them in the fridge, because otherwise, you know, for me, myself, 4 o'clock comes around at 4:30 or 5, and then you look in the fridge, and if you have to start pulling bags out, then you tend to want to eat something quicker, because you have to pull out the broccoli, or, you know, I have to pull out the Brussels sprouts and then pull out the carrots, and then find the ginger, and then, you know, all the stuff. And so one of the other things that I do is I don't pull the bags of stuff out even when I'm preparing anything. It's all washed before it goes in the fridge, but what I do is I just take my knife, a smaller knife usually, and open up the fridge, open up the crisper, and I have the little cloth bags, you know, but I have like the tops of the bags are open. So I just go in there with my knife and shuffle around and grab a hunk of broccoli and hack it off, or a hunk of cauliflower, you know, and cut it off. And then it's easy. And then the bags are open at the top. And so you just grab your carrots straight out, so that you're not, you know, carrying 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 bags out, and then cleaning and washing and cutting and then putting all the bags back in. So it really is a time saver. I find it is anyways, though I forgot to cut that guy. So, Brussels sprouts, yeah, so the Brussels sprouts are super good for you. They're super good for you. And they've got antioxidants, and they've got vitamin K. I just made a note here. There's been some research for them protecting against cancer. And I think that goes along with all of the cruciferous vegetables, like you know, your broccoli and your cauliflower and everything. Like, it's been so studied that it really helps with the whole intestine and the colon. So anti-cancer properties in there. I think it has to do with the bacteria, and, you know, really your bacteria is your most important part, your intestinal bacteria. There was recently I ran across a guy who was, his thing was gut biomes, and he called them biomes, and how important that is to, I've been studying so much about this virus that he was saying that, you know, along with the things we already know, the vitamin D and the zinc and the vitamin C, he was saying that your gut biome is like as vitally important as any of that for your whole immune system and for fighting things off. So if you guys are interested and you remind me, then we can, I'm going to add some water here. Then I can send you the link to that. So, but it was very interesting. He's quite amazing. So anyway, we've got our Brussels sprouts here with just water. I always start my dishes with just water in the pan. There's no oil or anything in it yet. Although I will put coconut oil in this because I think it gives a really nice sheen as well as adds some flavor. So we're going to let the Brussels sprouts do their thing here. And while they are doing their thing, I'm going to cut up my carrots. And it's just thinking, I was thinking of something else to do with the Brussels sprouts. Oh, they're anti-inflammatory. They have vitamin K, and they say they reduce inflammation. So I don't know a lot about that, but I think any vegetable really does. So we're going to cut up the carrots. So we're going to do, we're going to cut carrots while we let these steam a bit, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients to this, and then we will carry on with, I think I want to make these into little sticks. So with the carrots, generally, if you watch me cook before, I usually cut up 3 or 4 carrots at a time. But I'm not going to do it this time because you can't really when you're trying to do this. And so, just going to do the carrots. Of course, your carrots are good. You've got your vitamin A for your eyes. You've got all of the wonderful things that carrots are good for. And they're inexpensive. And something that you can do so many things with. You know, in the garden, they're nice and sweet. And my carrots are really slow to come up right now. They're there, but they're not very high, so I don't know if anyone else is having that, noticing that difficulty. So what we're going to do is, with the carrots, is we are going to make ginger cinnamon carrots. And so the cinnamon, as you know, I'm really trying to incorporate all of the healthiest, the ways to make the food the healthiest. And even though the vegetables are healthy already, what we want to do is we want to enhance whatever it is that we're cooking. If we can turn them into a health supplement even more than what they already are, then that is, you know, that just gives us that much more immune system protection and nutrition and all of that stuff. So I have the ginger here, and I'm gonna slice it up fairly thin in long chunks because I find that if I do smaller chunks, they end up getting, somebody chews on them and says, "What is that?" So I'm going to put the ginger in long chunks in with the carrots. I'm going to do that right now, even though that's not turned on. We'll do those afterwards. And so the Brussels sprouts now, they're coming along. They're just getting a little bit to where the skins are a little, tiny bit translucent. A little bit. Okay, I'm just going to flip them over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add we're going to add maple syrup and just drizzle that over quite a bit. You know, it's surprising how it doesn't really make it that sweet, but it just brings out the flavor. And a little bit of coconut oil and the coconut oil here. And, you know, they're just getting to where I can smell them. The Brussels sprouts, they just smell amazing. So, pecans, any of your Nuts should always be raw. I mean, unless you're really looking for flavor, then it's okay to have them cooked, but for the best benefit of the nuts, the omega-3s, they have all the omega-3s, of course, protein, and so you want to have your nuts raw if you can. And then the protein also slows down the digestion. So we had that little talk last week about how proteins slow the blood sugar down so that the proteins burn like logs in your stomach, and they make your blood sugar more stable so that it doesn't spike. Whereas if you eat things like processed carbohydrates like pasta, pastries, crackers, things like that, then it spikes your blood sugar. And so then you can have that drop in energy and that drop in blood sugar, whereas the proteins keep everything balanced. They burn slow over time like a log, and so they hold your blood sugar steady, which is why they serve wine with cheese, is to balance your blood sugar, because the wine has sugar in it and it can spike your blood sugar. So you serve the cheese as the protein to balance that out so that you don't have those crashes. Same thing with peanuts and beer. I mean, I haven't heard that in a really, really long time. Maybe because it's been like 30 years since I've been to the bar, but I don't know if they still serve that, peanuts and beer, but they used to. And the same thing, they don't want you crashing. They want everything balanced. And also with the protein, I think it maybe in the case of the bars, I think it had something to do with keeping people in there longer, keep them all balanced and happy. So anyways, we have the pecans here with a little bit of maple syrup, with a little bit of coconut oil, and I'm going to add some cranberries. And so also these are organic cranberries, so they're not too red. They don't have that sugary dye in them. I guess about that many. And yeah, so that just gives it a really nice thing. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to add the turmeric to the carrots. So that's it, with a little bit of Himalayan salt and, pepper. And, I just, cayenne has so many benefits. I add it to almost everything that I make because it aids in circulation, it opens up the blood vessels, it helps the whole body to do everything that it needs to do, absolutely everything. It opens up the blood vessels and aids in the circulation. So as we age, the blood vessels start to, oh God, they start to pull in, and everything starts to kind of slow as we get older, and become less plump and vibrant. And so the cayenne just opens up the blood vessels, brings circulation to the extremities, and helps everything move better. Not to mention that it's good for high blood pressure, good for cholesterol, good for everything. It's just amazing, cayenne. So I'm just going to show you this. Oh yeah. It's beautiful. So that's pretty much done. That is all we're doing with that for right now, is the Brussels sprouts, pecans, and cranberries. I'm going to shut that off because that's it. All I'm going to do is, they're still like really crispy and pretty raw. All I'm going to do is warm that up for dinner. So that is that. And so now we'll put the carrots on here. And again, I always start with the water, so I don't have any water in now. So I'm going to get some water in there and get those carrots going. And so with the carrots, we have carrots and ginger. And in this case, I washed the carrots, but I did not peel them. If they look pretty good and they're organic, I don't peel them. So we're going to, the carrots and the ginger, and I think what we'll do is just let them get going a little bit while we talk. And again, I don't want them too cooked, but I'll leave them in there. So what we're going to add to the carrots is we are going to add cinnamon with the ginger. So there'll be cinnamon, ginger, carrots. Just going to shake some on there. Not too much, because apparently some people around here don't really like cinnamon in their cooking too much, in their vegetables. And a little bit of coconut oil, and then we discussed before the benefits of the ginger, and the ginger, different than cayenne. They're both circulatory herbs, but the ginger starts down. It pushes down. The energy and the circulation starts going down, so that's why it's good for nausea. It's really good for all the circulation down to the feet, and it has so many anti-inflammatory properties and all of that. But it's a down herb, so it brings the circulation down to the feet, and then it goes up. So it will circulate all the way through the body to the head, but it starts by moving things down, whereas the cayenne starts by moving things up. So the cayenne comes in and it starts raising up to the head, and then it goes down to the feet. So if you have anybody with, it doesn't really matter. I was thinking people that have bad circulation in their feet to go into a warm water with either ginger or cayenne. I would think that it would be more the cayenne for the feet, because you're trying to pull that edema up. You're trying to pull that fluid retention up and get everything moving. So it's a really good thing to add cayenne to warm water if you're soaking the feet. Epsom salts is always good too. So if you know somebody with sore feet or edema or inflammation in the ankles, that works really well. That kind of reminds me of the gout. I did the broom flower ointment, and it turned out beautiful. It's just gorgeous. So that is the broom flowers, which have traditionally been used for gout. And took the broom flowers. We did that last week. We put a little bit of, picked off the flowers, put them in olive oil, and warmed them for over a period of a few hours on the warm setting in the little crock pot, and then in olive oil, and then I added a little bit of beeswax to this. I'm waiting for my candelilla wax to come in, because that is a plant source, which is super awesome. I just found out about it because with the olive oil, it's a little it's oil, right? So it's a little bit harder to use for someone because it just smears everywhere. So you want some sort of thickening agent in there. And so in this case, I did use a little bit of beeswax, but it turned out beautiful. So I'm really anxious to give it to our friend that has gout, and if you know of anybody, I'd be happy to hand out a couple samples. We'll see how this works, because traditionally that's what it's been used for the broom. And the broom also has a lot of, the green part has been used for heart conditions and things like that. But it's very cautionary. I don't know that the results have all been in yet on that, so I don't advise doing anything with the green parts of the broom unless you have worked with it over a long period of time, which I haven't. Okay, so you can see these carrots are coming along. They're actually simmering because I put a little too much water in. Usually I just put enough water so that they start sauteing right away, and I put a little too much water in, so they're going to be a little steamed and teensy bit simmered. So anyway, okay, so carrots, ginger, cinnamon, coconut oil, and that's it, turmeric. So anytime you can turn your vegetables into a health supplement, you should. And so we are going to add turmeric to this. Turmeric, of course, has curcumin, anti-inflammatory, oh my gosh, it has so many different properties to it, but most people already know that, and nearly everybody is taking turmeric right now as it is. So with your turmeric, you always want to add black pepper to activate it, and so that is that. And you don't need a lot either. I am going to add a little bit of Himalayan sea salt, and we're just going to let that simmer down because those carrots are pretty thick, so it's going to take a little while, and I want them just a little more than tender crisp, just so that I only have to heat them up this afternoon when I come in from the garden. Speaking from the garden, I wanted to go over this beautiful, beautiful, huge plantain. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is a plantain, and it's oh my gosh, it's been so it's been used for years and years for insect bites, skin conditions, and so often, if you see, if you run into nettles, stinging nettles or poison ivy or anything like that, or get a bee sting, you will so often get, see this growing near wherever you are. Oh my gosh, it's true though. And so you just pull off a piece, and the wild crafters will just take a leaf and chew it and to break it down and rub it on the bite or the sting or whatever's going on the skin. And you can, take the leaf off, or you can just, if you don't want to chew it, you can just crush it and rub it on that area. So it's really, really good for that. I don't believe this is the right species, but some of the psylliums, the flower part is where they make psyllium from. Plantain species. Did I say plantain or did I say psyllium? Anyway, some of the plantain species are have the flower tips are what they create psyllium from, and so that would be like Metamucil and that kind of thing. I'm not sure of the species on that, but that's where it comes from. And so these are, the psyllium obviously is very good for bulking up for the colon, really good for fiber and that kind of thing for constipation. But it is important that you drink a lot of water if you're taking psyllium, because the psyllium will bulk up, and if it doesn't have water to help it expand in a soft, gentle way, it can actually harden, the fiber can harden up and have the opposite effect. Anyway, for the psyllium, it really, even as a tea, it helps with the colon and the bowels. It's really, hi Heather, that's awesome. Hi everybody, happy to see everybody here. So yeah, it's also very soothing for the intestinal membrane of the colon, and so as a tea it's really helpful to soothe that membrane, helpful for the kidneys and bladder. It's just kind of a really soothing tea to drink, and it's not something I would do all the time. And hi, and so anyway, the psyllium is really, really useful. So what I'm going to do with this plant here, oh, and I was going to say too, there is a broad leaf, like this is a huge leaf. You don't usually see them this big, but we found this on Sunday. So there is the narrow leaf plantain with the narrow leaves, and they have the long ribs in them. And then there's the wide leaf plantain as well. So they both work identically the same, and really, really good for the skin. So what I'm going to do with this guy is, I actually ended up getting two of these big ones. I'm going to dry one and keep it as a tea for cooking, or making a decoction from. Not really cooking it, but you're putting it into the water and then you're letting it gently simmer. And so I'll dry it for tea, and the other one I am going to make a skin salve with it. So it'll be really soothing for any kind of skin irritation, bites, which is really awesome, because if this works this well fresh, when you use it for bites and rashes and that kind of thing, then it will work really good as a salve or an ointment. So we'll be doing that next week. So that's our little plant thing for the day. Here's another of a little bit of the wider leaf. And so, yeah, so psyllium's really, or psyllium, I keep calling it psyllium, plantain, is really, really valuable for your herb. So look at the carrots. Oops, goodness. All right, so I'm just going to have to barely warm them up for dinner tonight. So I'm going to take those off. I'll actually replace this because they're getting a little more done than the beautiful Brussels sprouts that we made. So the other thing I have here, last thing, I'm always trying to think ahead because often, you know, you just can't think of what to make for dinner. And so while I'm cooking, I think, what else do I have in the fridge that I can throw in the oven and have for the next day so that I don't have to think about something else that's healthy for the next day. So last night when I was making, I can't remember what I made last night, but yeah, hi Heather. Heather's asking if there's a possibility of doing plant identification with a group. I have done that in the past, live, and I don't know, I've got like, it seems funny, but I've got so many things planned for this summer. I don't know that I'll do that, but what I've been doing is just showing people around, and what I might do is like a live walk through the forest and showing it virtually. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, but thanks for the prompt on that. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll fit it in. In the meantime, there's a bunch of videos that I'm trying to separate out, different ones on each of the plants, like the plantain and the chickweed and the comfrey and all the different kitchen herbs and stuff like that. So I'm really happy that you're interested. If you want someone who really, really knows all of the plants and the Latin names and everything, is I don't know if they're doing it anymore either, but Lonnie and Jeanette Cormier. Like Jeanette Cormier, she's the acupuncturist in Port Alberni, and they are like, you know, way more versed than I am. I kind of learn what I need as I go and what I'm interested in, and so I'm for sure love to share what I know, but I'm far from an expert on every wild and medicinal plant out there. The other thing is Yarrow Willard with Wild Rose Healing, Terry Willard's son. His videos are amazing. Okay, so back to the cooking. This is a sweet potato, big one. And I just need to have a little sip here. Okay, so the sweet potatoes, super anti-inflammatory. They are, okay, I'm going to cut it open first. What I'm doing with this, I already cooked it, so it's tender on the inside, and it's soft, kind of soft and wrinkly on the outside. Oh my God, that reminds me of me. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this open a little bit, and so we're going to scoop it out. I'm getting distracted now. Okay, what I was going to do is just make like a little stuffed sweet potato and scoop it out, but you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to do something different. We always love to change things up, don't we, Darlene? Let me just grab another bowl and I'll show you something. Okay, so what we're going to do is more or less peel this. And I did wash my hands always before every touching food. Of course, we're also used to washing our hands every 5 minutes nowadays anyways. Which is a good thing, I guess. The sweet potatoes got a little brown on it. Okay, so I'm just going to peel this off. So, yeah, I hope everybody's been keeping well and kind of interesting with the parks thing. You know, all the locals be in the parks. It'll be an interesting summer for sure. I do highly encourage everybody to try and garden something, even if you only do container gardening. Grow something. Start getting something growing. You can. There's all those video posts with regrowing the plants. So what I'm going to do with this is just mash it. I wasn't really completely I wasn't really planning on this. Okay, but this is gonna work. All right, we're mashing. Here we go. We're mashing the sweet potato. So anyway, what my plan was with this was to mash it up and stuff it back in there, but that obviously isn't going to work because when I baked it, the skin is too soft. So I guess it may be possibly perhaps, and like I say, I'm not an expert, but perhaps if I had not put the sweet potato in the foil, the skin would have stayed nice and crunchy and I could have stuffed it like I wanted to. But things happen and there's always plan B, plan C, plan D, and plan E, and I'm usually ready for most of them because I do that a lot. So here you go. So there's the sweet potato. We're going to add cinnamon to it, not too much for reasons previously explained. And just a tiny bitest of maple syrup. And then what we're going to do, which is really interesting, which is what I wanted to show you guys, I'm going to mix this around, and then I'm going to make it like a little, it'll be like a potato casserole. That's the desired outcome. Okay, so kind of like this. And what we're going to do to surprise you guys, what we're going to do is we are going to add some of the Earth Island Parmesan. I just got this from Healthy Habits, and it is awesome for a dairy-free cheesy flavor. It's the little shreds, if I can get it open here. Get a new spoon. So we're going to put some cheese on top of this. And then bake it. And I'm going to add this. So that this particular, we need a little bit more. This particular dairy-free Parmesan has a mild taste. You can see it sideways there. And then this one here is Earth Island as well. And it's like the drier, powderier Parmesan. And so I'm going to add a little bit of that too, because it's got a stronger flavor. So that'll give it like a cheesy thing. So what this is going to do when I put this in the oven, it's going to be kind of like a potato casserole, and you scoop a little bit out with the cheese, and then a little bit of cinnamon and maple syrup just makes the sweet potato that much flavorful. So it's kind of a little combination of cheese, cinnamon, and maple syrup, which is interesting. So that's that. So that's the last thing I was going to show you. So everybody that came on, hi Catherine. The new people that came on, what we did today, we did a beautiful Brussels sprouts, pecans, cranberry stir fry to get ready for dinner tonight. So it's just like a little bit partially cooked, so it just has to be warmed. We did the carrots here. Where did the other spoon go? There we go. We did the carrots with the cinnamon and ginger and turmeric. And we did the sweet potato with the cinnamon and the maple syrup and the two cheeses. And then we discussed plantain and what we're going to do with that next week. Okay, guys, that was fun. I'm really glad that you came and joined. And yeah, I'll give that some more thought. Please do ask about what you'd like to learn, what you'd like me to share. And then we'll keep working on that. So lots of really fun and interesting things to come. I do work with a lot of different foods and unusual foods. And so let me know if there's something strange that you haven't worked with. Like I'm just looking at a black bean pasta that maybe we'll work with in different products. I always like trying something new. Okay, thank you for coming. Thanks, bye. Bye, darling. Have a good day. Get out in the sunshine, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Okay. Take care. And for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of videos on georginacyr.com and my YouTube channel.